Steve, we're at Year Up, and we recently had a student. There was a group of individuals judging some kind of, tell me more, we were just talking about this.
We have an elevator pitch competition.
That's it.
And the top 20 go every 2 minutes, and Chase Lenfest was a judge.
Great guy.
Absolutely. So, and it's nice. At the end, Chase gave fantastic feedback. It wasn't just to give people a number, are you a 4, 5, 7? Or so at the end of that, he asked to have a picture taken with the student, said he would post it online, and hopefully people he knows would use that as a bridge to learn about Year Up and get more involved. Well, very little time goes by, and there's Jay Doran on my doorstep.
That's how we got connected.
That was it. And saying, hey, I saw on Chase's Facebook page, Year Up, tell me more about this.
It's the power of social media.
Absolutely.
And that brings us to why we're doing this today.
Right.
So that young man that did the pitch contest, where there's professional judges, meaning people that have really done some amazing things in business, judging them but critiquing them positively. That young man, he went on to do some amazing things.
Penn Mutual. Mike, when he started, like a lot of our students, they wake up and they think, who am I? What do I want to be in life? How am I going to get there? And they have talent, but they have zero opportunity. It's their parents' checking account balance, the color of their skin, the high school, the zip code. And I met students say, every day you get these questions and you don't have any answers. And I say, we build runways. And so Mike was one of those students. He ended up at a local insurance company, a huge Fortune 1000 company, got converted, was hired. His first day, he gets called to the CEO's office for a meeting. First day of intern. Never walked in a professional environment before. Now he's featured in their annual report. And the cool thing is, it's not just the company saying, hey, we are finding talent. It's what Mike brings to that company and how he impacts the people around him. Mike's energy is amazing. He does not. Student. Yeah, because he looks at the world as, hey, if I did this, what else can I do?
Wow.
Like where there is no ceiling now.
Well, if from interviewing alumni, that seems to be a common thread of belief. So what does that look like, meaning that they believe they can do big things? What does that look like in the first month that they get enrolled in? Like, what are some of those walls that have to come down and, characters that are being built up?
The funny thing is, I heard it, and I would hear it, and then at about the 7th time, it sunk in. The thing I hear the most is, you take me outside of my comfort zone. And probably the moment of really the light bulb went off in my head, I took one of our students to meet a donor. And we were sitting in the restaurant, the elevator opened, Rob steps out, comes over to the table. We had a great talk. And I really like our students to be the voice of Year Up, not Steve Evans. And so we're there for an hour. Rob was asking all kinds of questions, and we were done, and Rob left. And so I turned to the student, I said, how was that? You did fantastic. And she said, I was scared to death. And I'm like, why? And she goes, did you see that guy when he stepped out of the elevator? And he looks exactly like me. This is a guy who's a white guy in his 50s. But it dawned on me, she probably has not ever had a lot of opportunities to even talk to a white guy in his 50s. So we make them stand up in front of the class. They have to give presentations. They have to say what their why is. They have an elevator pitch competition.
Wow.
We're taking some students out to a local company to meet all the CEOs shortly, sit down with the C team, and hear from the C team directly. This is what we're looking for. This is what makes an employee outstanding. So, all these experiences, by the time they get done with their internship, they're used to being outside of their norm.
So would you say that the stories or the narrative, because I've heard the narrative conversation come up a lot from the alumni, is like they use good language, these stories of believing things that may not be there, like the person that fears a guy coming out of an elevator that they don't yet know.
Right.
That is a big roadblock that Europe's been able to tackle.
It's a huge roadblock. And I think a lot of young people just don't have opportunity. I mean, and one of the things Europe does, and I think they are really one of the best at it, is to go through this program, the guardrails here, the guardrails here. You can't drive your car off the road. You can quit. You can say, I don't want to do this. But you can't get lost in the process. I mean, even study hall is mandatory. And they're in college, so every moment of the day, 8 to 5, Monday through Thursday, 8 to noon on Friday, every moment of the day of what you need to be doing, what you need to be learning, who you need to be talking to is written down.
Wow.
So, their runway is flat and as straightforward as you can possibly get. We'll give them business clothes. Everything
Give them business
we
clothes.
give them, we outfit them. They have to go to college looking like they're going to an office. They have to wear a tie.
To build that conditioning of that habit.
Exactly. So, I say you don't have to do everything right. You have to do the right things. And it's just teaching them the right things. Because one of my favorite students always said, when you fall, and you will fall, and I'm going to fall again, always fall on your back. Because if you look up, you get up.
Wow. Well, a student said that.
A student said that, yeah. And so what I love is, like, you think in this, I don't really look at us as a social service.
Yeah, no.
Because that is, like, here's the case manager knows all this stuff and trying to help this person here. I love it, like some of the students you were talking with today one comes back and goes, I'm an IT project manager, and she starts talking. I'm like, phew, that's way over my head. I mean, it's like watching the world move on for me. And
like
watching
the mentees
the students
become
driving that.
They become like the mentors in certain
they
scenarios.
know things I can't even do no matter how much you paid me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so.
Now, I want to know more about soft skills versus hard skills, because I hadn't heard that at all until I started talking to people at Europe, including yourself, and now the alumni. So what is the difference between a hard skill and a soft skill?
So in IT, a hard skill would be, the skills you need to program a computer, to do coding, to do data analytics. Those are all the technical skills. And we're all hired for our technical skills, but we're fired for our soft skills. We're fired because we don't show up on time. We're not consistent. We don't know how to work in a team. We don't know how to communicate effectively. And the great thing is when a company interviews you, if this was a job interview and you had me an hour for right now, there's no way you can look at that list and say, is Steve capable of doing those things? There's no way in an hour you're going to know that about me. But because our students can intern for 6 months, by the end of that internship, that company knows exactly what they have on their hands. And we're putting them in the seat a company's trying to hire for. So it's like the perfect marriage.
So they do 6 months of training for hard skills on specific
and soft skills. The first 6 months are all in the classroom where they're learning the technical skills based on their track. We do IT and business and the soft skills.
And then the internship is a real-life hard soft skill.
Exactly. And
that makes sense.
And they come back on Wednesdays because they're still learning more. I mean, 6 months
As they go.
You're not a PhD yet. But it's all that support, because I think a lot of our students, we had a donor come in, I loved it, and I was saying all the great things about Europe. So the interns come in, they sit down, and the person from the CET comes in and just reams them. And is just so upset and is reading an email about students who are in meetings and pulling out their iPhones and texting their friends. And I turned to the donor and I said, you know what? That is a great thing because we're working with the right people. That's something every one of these students can learn from. Every one of these students will know not to do this again. But if no one told you that, you don't know you're doing something wrong. So it's really giving them, in the end, that toolbox. By the end of that year, these students are amazing. They know what it takes to succeed.
How did this all come into being? Like, what is the thought behind it? Because I've never heard of something like this.
Gerald, who is the founder, still the CEO today, he did very well in business, but he was a big brother. And he saw the opportunity by working 3 years with his little brother, realized this, never had a chance. Was in one of the worst parts of town in New York City, one of the most photographic areas of town because of homicides, and realized, we are wasting so much talent. And ended up saying to him, if you do well in college, I will help pay for it. I'm not going to give you a handout, I'll give you a hand up. And from that experience, realized there are a ton of jobs out there that are not college required, but college preferred, that you could train somebody in 1 year for that seat, and they could be successful. They're going to have the toolkit they need to show up and do really well. And then I say we build runways. Once their airplane's in the air, it's their life.
So not a handout, a hand up. I've heard that quite a bit as a mantra in a sense. It sounds like it from the alumni, from people in the sense of helping people up. Is that a general idea here at Europe? I keep hearing that, like this mentor-mentee, but in a different way.
Yeah. I mean, I think our students get the credit. We'll give them the opportunity, but I can't fly their airplane for them. And I'm not going to lower the bar for them. If the bar here is higher than what they're going to face when they go into internship, they're going to look great. So it is, you get an infraction. If you arrive Monday to, you're not in the room by 8:45 and you come in with no tie and you're late, That's 20 points, and that's $20 off your fees. You get a stipend.
Wow.
So you learn really quickly the value of being reliable, being on time. And I meet employers and they say, give me somebody who will arrive on time, who is dedicated, who is driven, who has the whatever it takes. I can give them the technical skills. I can't give them the personality of what makes people successful.
Attracting that character and then
yes,
building
we call it
up.
Grit. We want grit. If I put somebody
grit
in front of you with grit, you'll take them in a minute.
Wow. So there's a system where there's some skin in the games, there's some realistic, so they can come in, so they can get there, but they're docked points, which aligns with the psychology of an individual to increase accountability.
Right.
And then they're placed in environments that they have to show their worth through actually being good at the jobs, but also being good at being a person interpersonally with other people.
Exactly. So, and you'll hear it, I'm not late, the bus was slow today. Your employer can't tell their customer, forget it, we didn't get the job done because the buses were slow today.
Yeah.
So they don't care. Like, you're either on time, we teach them 8 o'clock is late, 7:45 is on time.
Wow.
If you are there early, you'll work really well. When you get there, knock on people's doors, say, hey, Jay, I noticed, you're really well liked at this company, it's successful. Could we have lunch? I'd love to hear from you, what I should be learning here. How can I add some value to my team?
So they're taught that in the program to seek mentorship,
absolutely,
to seek sociability, to network. Yeah, what are some of if you were to break down some of these soft skills, right? So anyone watching this, they may think this is too good to be true. What are some reasons that they should listen, what are some of these skills that they'll learn?
Sure. Like one of my favorite is how to communicate effectively. So we created teams, and there's like 5 teams. You got a bag. And in your bag was a loaf of bread, peanut butter, jelly, knife, napkin. And you have to write down exactly how I can make a peanut butter and jelly. I don't know anything about a peanut butter and jelly. So when my team read the directions, the first thing they say is grab 2 pieces of bread. Well, you grab 2 pieces of bread. Some people said, well, put the peanut butter on the bread. You take the jar, you put the peanut butter on the bread. And by the end, like all of these jelly, no one would bite into any of these. They were terrible. And so like students were like, well, no, you weren't being fair. You know how to make a peanut butter and jelly. And the person who was visiting that day, Chris, said, listen, when you go out to internship, if you write a manual, and that's what people are producing, they're going to point the finger at you. And you see the light bulb go off. Yeah. If that's the work I'm producing, if that's how I'm telling people to do a job, I'm supposed to make sure it's getting done, that will reflect on it.
One of your alumni I just spoke with earlier, Malik, said problem solving.
Problem solving is
critical
big.
thinking, he said.
Yeah.
In his role at a company, he's with a large company, and he's got such an important job, he learned critical thinking from year up.
Yeah.
And that seems like that exercise because it's almost, you would say, common sense. Oh, yeah, I could but try breaking that down so someone that doesn't know how to do something can do it.
Exactly. Social intelligence, understanding the social implications of your behavior. If you make a lousy peanut butter and jelly and they come to me and say, hey, Jay can't make a peanut butter and jelly, if I push back, I'm not going to look very good. So,
And we see that regardless of what someone's accreditations could be.
Exactly.
Every day in the workplace.
Right.
There's almost an epidemic happening right now with turnover and employment. It seems like there's big companies that could learn these types of things.
Big companies are desperate for talent. They are absolutely desperate for talent. And what frustrates me is we have talent waking up in this country saying, who am I? Where do I want to go? How am I going to get there? And no one is talking to them. I mean, we will be in big trouble if we do if we keep doing this to young people.
Well, we're getting the word out now.
Thanks. We need that.
What's one word that you think of right away, you, Steve, when it comes to year up?
Me.
Explain.
A student can come in. I'm not going to tell them what to do. I'm not going to tell them who do they. They can be the best they want to be. They can pick their career. We have a variety of skills they can learn. But who am I? Who do I want to be in life? And how am I going to get there? How do I give back? How do I help others? How do I lift while I climb? I mean, it is about me. I will be accountable for myself. Anything you need on your runway, I will guarantee you it will be there. You're not going to fall out of this program because we took the guardrails down.
Wow.
So, and that's what I love. I love we had a student, actually we had somebody you connected us with, and had a student take her to a class where she could watch it. And it was so great. She came out, and the first thing, and this is what tells me why my why, she said she has so much potential. And I've worked in homeless shelters where the first thing you learn is no one has a home. No one, to see this person can make it.
This business owner said to you that woman or man,
that woman, Christina has so much potential.
And I'll tell you, that business owner climbed from the bottom. And I'm sure she went into that or will talk with the students and has been one of the most successful business owners in Philadelphia in the real estate communities. That's powerful.
And that's what we do. We go into neighborhoods. Corporate America does not see talent in those neighborhoods. Yeah. We will find the talent and we'll put it on their doorstep.
For people, final word on Year Up. What do people need to know that have no idea about Year Up, that think it's too good to be true? You got 30 seconds with
30 seconds. What I love about Year Up, so I'll talk for myself, is we have a clear definition of success. Success is not graduating from our program. Success is not sitting in a classroom this many hours a week or being on time. It's not just doing things. Success is if you don't have a job that you can afford to have a great life. In last class, the average starting salary was over $40,000. Or if you're not in college, we didn't do our job. Getting a diploma is not going to help you. It's nice, it's a step, but if I don't physically change your life, I'm not doing my job. And if I get you a job that you are gainfully employed or you're on to get a college degree, I have changed your life now. And you have everything you need to say, sky's the limit. I took off, my plane's in the air.
Transformation.
Yeah, it really is.
This is awesome. You are awesome.
Thanks. Thank you. All you do for us, so we appreciate it.
We appreciate you. Your culture matters.
Yeah, well, we can't do this on our own. I love your heart, and I love what you bring to this program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.